Your dead grandmother is alive, right now. Not in heaven, not in your memory, actually alive, somewhere in the universe. And in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to show you why physics doesn't just suggest this is true, it demands it. In 1955, Einstein wrote a letter that broke his own students' brains. His best mate, Michele Besso, had just died. And in that letter to Besso's family, Einstein wrote, and I'm pulling this straight from the actual document, that for those of us who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Now, you might read that and think, yeah, lovely sentiment, just a grieving genius trying to comfort a family. But here's the problem. Einstein wasn't being poetic. He wasn't being metaphorical. He meant it the way you mean it when you say water boils at 100 degrees. According to the equations Einstein spent his entire life writing, your dead relatives, your grandmother, your grandfather, the dog you had when you were 7, they are alive, right now, somewhere in the universe. Stick with me, because we're about to break time. Look, before we get into the maths, I need you to forget something. I need you to forget the way you've thought about time your entire life. Because the way you think about time, the way most of us think about time, is wrong. Not slightly wrong, spectacularly, embarrassingly wrong. Most of us walk around imagining time like a river. There's the past behind us, gone, finished, never coming back. There's the present, this tiny moment we're standing in. And there's the future, rushing toward us, not yet existing. That's the model. Past gone, present real, future not here. It feels obvious. It feels true. It's how every clock you've ever owned seems to behave. Yesterday is over. Tomorrow hasn't happened. Done. But that picture, that nice, neat river of time, physics has been quietly demolishing for over 100 years. And nobody really told you. Here's where it starts getting weird. In 1905, a 26-year-old patent clerk in Switzerland, Einstein, working a day job, scribbling physics in his lunch break, published a paper that should have ended civilization as we knew it. It was called the special theory of relativity. And buried in the maths was a sentence that, if you really sit with it, is more disturbing than anything in any horror film you've ever seen. The sentence is this: there is no such thing as now. Read that again. There is no universal now. No moment that's the same for everyone. The now you're experiencing right this second, me talking, you watching, is only now for you. For someone moving relative to you, your now is their past. For someone else, your now hasn't happened yet. Time, Einstein discovered, isn't a river that everyone floats down together. Time is personal. Your time is yours, my time is mine. And they don't match. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mate, that sounds like science fiction. But this isn't theory. We've measured it. We measure it every single day. The GPS in your phone right now, the one that gets you from Melbourne to Geelong without you driving into the bay, it has to constantly correct for the fact that the satellites overhead are experiencing time differently than you are. The clocks on those satellites tick slightly faster than the clocks on the ground. If we didn't correct for that, your phone's GPS would drift by about 10 kilometers every single day. 10 kilometers in a day. Time isn't universal. Even your Maps app knows it. Einstein was right. Now, here's where things start to break. If everyone has their own personal now, what does that mean for events? Stay with me here. Imagine 2 events. One happens on Earth. Let's say you're sipping a flat white in Sydney. The other happens on a planet near the Andromeda galaxy, 2.5 million light years away. From your perspective, sitting in Sydney, those 2 events are happening now. simultaneous, at the same moment. But here's the kicker. Some bloke walking down the street next to you, going the opposite direction at a casual walking pace, for him, those two events aren't simultaneous. For him, the event on Andromeda is happening days, maybe weeks earlier or later than your coffee sip. Same two events, different nows. And both of you are correct. Physics says both of you are correct. There is no referee. There is no master clock in the sky saying which now is the real one. They're all real. This is called the Andromeda paradox, and physicists have been losing sleep over it for 60 years. Because if your now and his now are different but both real, then the future for one of you is the present for the other, which means the future already exists, and so does the past. Hold on, take a breath, because what I just said is the biggest idea in modern physics, and most people have never heard of it. It's called the block universe, and it changes everything. Picture it like this. Forget the river of time. Instead, imagine the entire universe, past, present, future, as a single four-dimensional block, like a loaf of bread. The whole loaf exists. Every slice, every moment that has ever happened, is happening, or will happen, they're all just slices of one giant frozen loaf. The Big Bang is a slice on one end. The heat death of the universe is a slice on the other. Your birth, my birth, your first day of school, the day you broke your arm falling off the trampoline, the day you'll die. All of it. All slices, all real, all existing. Right now. The only reason it feels like time flows is because your consciousness is moving through the loaf, slice by slice, like a needle on a record. But the record was already pressed. The whole song already exists. You're just experiencing it one note at a time. And this isn't fringe physics. This isn't some podcast theory. This is the standard interpretation of Einstein's relativity. Hermann Minkowski, the bloke who taught Einstein maths at uni, said it bluntly back in 1908. He said space by itself and time by itself are doomed to fade away into mere shadows, and only a kind of union of the two will preserve an independent reality. Space-time. One thing. One block. Past, present, future, all sitting there, equally real, equally existing. Which brings us back to Einstein's letter, and to your grandmother. If the block universe is right, and the math says it is, then your grandmother didn't disappear when she died. She didn't stop existing. She still exists, right now, just not in this slice of the loaf. She exists in 1987, sitting in her kitchen, putting the kettle on, telling you off for tracking dirt onto the carpet. That moment is still there. It didn't get deleted. The universe doesn't delete moments. It can't. The maths doesn't allow it. Every moment that has ever happened is still happening, somewhere along the four-dimensional block. The conversation you had with your grandfather when you were 10, it's still going. The laugh your dog gave you when you came home from school, still echoing. The hug from someone you've lost, still happening. You just can't reach it. Because your consciousness is stuck on this slice, this frame, this now, but the past is not gone. It's just out of reach. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like cope. This sounds like a physicist trying to make grief easier. And look, fair call, I get it. But here's the wild thing. Einstein didn't write that letter to Besso's family because he was sad and reaching for comfort. He wrote it because he genuinely believed it was true. He had spent 50 years working on the equations, and the equations told him over and over that time doesn't flow. Time exists, all at once. He believed his friend Michele was still alive, somewhere in space-time. Not as a memory, not as an idea, alive, existing, real. And 3 weeks after he wrote that letter, Einstein died too. And if he was right, and the equations he wrote are still passing every test we throw at them 120 years later, then Einstein is also still there. In 1955, in his study, writing that letter, right now. So here's where we land. We started with a man writing a letter about his dead friend. We moved through GPS satellites, through galaxies, through Andromeda. And we ended up with a universe where nothing, not your grandmother, not your dog, not Einstein himself, ever truly leaves. They're just on different slices of the loaf, stuck in their own now, which is just as real as yours. Now, does this prove there's an afterlife? No. Does it prove consciousness survives death? No. Physics doesn't go that far. What it does say is something stranger and, in a way, more beautiful. Every moment you've ever lived is still alive somewhere. Every person you've ever loved is still there, still laughing, still breathing, still existing in their slice. You just can't visit. Yet. Maybe ever. But the universe didn't delete them. It can't. The maths won't let it. And maybe that's what Einstein was trying to tell Besso's family. Not your husband is gone, but you'll see him again. But your husband is not gone. He's just somewhere you can't reach. And neither are you, in a sense. Neither am I. We're all already there. Always have been, always will be. Time's a funny thing, isn't it? We spend our lives terrified of running out of it, and it turns out it might not run anywhere at all. If your brain is melting a bit right now, good. That means you were paying attention. Hit the like button if this changed how you think about time, even a little. Subscribe if you want more videos that take ideas like this and pull them apart from the inside. And drop a comment. Tell me, honestly, do you reckon the block universe is real? Or do you think time really does flow? I read every comment and I'm genuinely curious what you think. Next time, we're going one step further. We're asking, if the block universe is real, can we ever travel back to those slices? Is time travel actually possible? Or is the past locked away forever? See you in that one. Stay curious.